All right, let's talk about a word you've probably heard a million times, especially when things get complicated. The word is adapt. And it always sounds so powerful, right? Like it's a secret formula for navigating all the chaos in the world.
But that brings up a pretty big question, doesn't it? If ADAPT is this amazing framework, what in the world does it actually stand for?
And this is where things get really interesting, because the answer isn't simple at all. In fact, what adapt means, well, it completely depends on who you're talking to.
Now, seriously, this one little acronym stands for at least 4 totally different things. It all depends on if you're a global consultant, a career coach, a disability advocate, or a climate scientist. So, let's untangle this and look at the many, many meanings of adapt.
Okay, first up, let's start big. I mean, really big. We're talking about the version of ADAPT that the global consulting firm PwC uses to get a handle on massive worldwide problems. So for PwC, their ADAPT framework is all about getting a grip in a complex world. This isn't for your personal goals. This is a tool for huge corporations and even governments to analyze the major forces shaping our planet.
So what's inside their framework? Well, it's basically a diagnosis of 5 huge global pressures. The first A is for asymmetry. This is all about the growing gap between the haves and the have-nots, the hollowing out of the middle class, and this growing imbalance of wealth and opportunity. Next, the D stands for disruption. You know this one. It's about those unstoppable forces like technology and climate change that aren't just changing things a little bit. They are fundamentally rewriting the rules of how we live and work.
Then we've got the second A, which stands for H. Think of this as the demographic squeeze. We're seeing everything from major workforce shortages to the giant challenge of funding pensions for aging populations. It's putting enormous pressure on the whole system.
The P here is for polarization. PwC points to this breakdown of global agreement, where societies are getting more and more divided, nationalism is on the rise, and it feels like everyone is retreating into their own corners.
And all of that leads to the T, for trust. This is about the erosion of confidence in our core institutions, governments, the media, you name it. It leads to more skepticism and this massive debate over what's even real anymore.
Okay. Whew. So that was ADAPT on a huge, almost overwhelming scale, right? So now let's just completely flip the script. We're going to zoom all the way in from the world's problems to your problems.
See, for the writer Darius Farrow, ADAPT has nothing to do with geopolitics. It's a super personal framework for how you, an individual, can stay relevant and actually survive the insane pace of change in your career.
And Farrow's version is all about action. Where PwC's framework was a diagnosis of problems, this one is a set of commands. Accept that change is happening. Discontinue your old, outdated ways. Acquire brand new skills. Make progress every single day. And track what's coming next. It's not a map of the world, it's a personal survival guide. So we've had the 30,000-foot view and the up-close and personal view, but ADAPT is also used in these incredibly important social and academic ways to help build better communities and even protect our shared history.
So our third case study comes from the May Murray Foundation, and they use an ADAPT framework for a really beautiful idea, making sure playtime is inclusive for children of all abilities.
Their Adapt My Play guide is all about all ability, dignity, accessibility, participation, and teamwork. But the real magic of their framework is a really crucial distinction that it helps us all understand.
And this just nails it. An accessible space is one without barriers, right? But an inclusive space? That's different. That's a place that's designed to meet the wide and varied needs of every single child, so no one gets left on the sidelines. It's such an important difference.
Now, for our fourth and final framework, we're switching gears again. For climate scientists and archaeologists, ADAPT is a tool they use to make incredibly tough decisions about how to save our cultural heritage from climate change. So this framework, which was published by Cambridge University Press, lays out 5 potential strategies. You can acclimate a historical site to the new climate. You can physically dislocate it, move it somewhere else. You can make the heartbreaking choice to abandon it. You can try to protect it with walls or barriers. And, crucially, no matter which path you choose, you have to tell the story of that place and the choices that were made.
So what is going on here? We have at least 4 completely different frameworks using the exact same name. It really gets to the big question: why? Why are we so obsessed with acronyms like this? And trust me, it's not just these 4. A quick search turns up the ADAPT e-learning framework for developers,
There's an ADAPT toolkit for agile software, even a leadership model called Adapt, Amplify, Accelerate. This acronym is absolutely everywhere.
Well, here's the secret. The reason we love acronyms like ADAPT is because they give us a handle for complexity.
Just think about it for a second. Global economics, career anxiety, social inclusion, saving history. These are all huge, messy, totally overwhelming problems. A framework like ADAPT doesn't magically solve them, but it makes them feel manageable. It breaks a giant problem down into smaller pieces and gives us a common language to start talking about solutions and, maybe most importantly, to actually start doing something.
So the real point here isn't just to memorize what one version of ADAPT stands for. It's about recognizing the incredible power these frameworks have to organize our thinking. And that kind of leaves us with one final question for you. What complex, messy problem in your own world could use a framework to help you adapt?